We recognize that the human race is nothing if not resourceful. Although most of this resourcefulness is expressed through song, art, films, and novels, crime also requires its fair share of artistic creativity. But getting away with crime, creative or not, is no small feat. People have been apprehended and put on trial for a wide range of them throughout history. However, some prefer to stand out from the crowd. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are some of history's most perverted, depressing, and weird crimes that'll just leave you baffled. #25. The Bejeweled Cheese Slicer. If you discover a diamond-encrusted cheese slicer while visiting any cheese-loving relatives, just please return it to Amsterdam's Cheese Museum. You will be rewarded with the world's biggest commercially available fondue set. Well, it is the Netherlands after all. Rodrigo Atazu, a jeweler, created the platinum slicer for cheese accessory retailer Bosca Holland. When it was stolen in 2015, it contained 220 small diamonds valued at $26,000. Despite being caught on a security camera, the perpetrators were never apprehended, and the slicer has not been seen since. #24. A decomposing body in a fire. A less thrilling find occurred in South Carolina in 2021 when a group of teens visited a haunted house, discovering a badly decomposing body inside the home's freezer. The group called local deputies instead of continuing their exploration. However, less than 48 hours after it was discovered, the abandoned house was burned to the ground in what authorities called a suspicious fire. #23. The Human Chop Shop. Donating the remains of a deceased loved one is not uncommon, and numerous nonprofit research centers provide this service. However, the FBI launched an investigation into one such center after 15 severed human heads were discovered on one domestic flight. The discovery led to a raid on the Biological Research Center in January 2014, where federal agents discovered buckets full of arms, legs, heads, and a cooler full of male genitalia, and even rotting heads. The bodies had been dismembered with chainsaws. The agents also found a male torso with a woman's head sewn onto it in the facility. It was later discovered that the facility was linked to a multi-state illegal trafficking and sale of human body parts operation. #22. Man kills friend over Bigfoot fears. While a good fishing partner can be helpful, the one who understands your fears is priceless. Larry Sanders, 53, reportedly told investigators that he killed his fishing buddy Jimmy Knighton after Knighton threatened to call Bigfoot to come and kill him. The two fishing buddies had gotten into a physical argument while fishing in the South Canadian River. #21. Man steals wheelchair a day after Thanksgiving. Austin Sherbet, dressed to the nines in festive reindeer slippers, was caught on video attempting to steal a wheelchair from an elderly woman on a commuter train the day after Thanksgiving in 2019. After the clip went viral, his ex-wife confirmed that she didn't condone his behavior and that she had received numerous death threats, as the couple has a special needs daughter. Apparently, he stayed on Santa's naughty list for the remainder of the festive season. #20. The Funeral Crasher. After not being invited to her boyfriend's funeral, Blair Whitten decided to show up nevertheless. She crashed through the cemetery during his funeral service and attempted to run people over. But her destruction didn't start there. She also vandalized a statue of Jesus, spray painting his face black just weeks before the funeral. I guess grief just affects everyone differently. 19. Never trust an irritated old man. An 88-year-old Southwest Missouri man took out his roommate after years of thinking it through. According to investigators, Larry Shaw and his victim lived together for nearly a decade. Shaw told his investigators that he was tired of Mr. Barnes' crude language and how he treated him. He finally had enough after Mr. Barnes told him he needed to do some chores one Wednesday morning. According to court documents, he sat in his recliner for over 3 hours waiting for his roommate to return before killing him with a shotgun. It just goes to show, patience comes with old age. Oh no. Does it? 18. The Cheese Lover in the Ceiling. In 2020, police arrested a man who allegedly spent several weeks living in the Hagen Northwest Fresh Market ceiling in Auburn, Washington. During business hours, the man would squat above the drop ceiling, then come down after closing to stock up on cigarettes and food, setting off the alarms multiple times. Police spent numerous man-hours looking for the suspect in the ducts, but had difficulty finding him. The brick of Beecher's cheese he had on him when he was arrested was worth $394.97. 17. The Melon Heads. In May 2020, Justin Rogers, 20, uploaded a TikTok video in which he and another man appeared to purchase 2 watermelons, scoop them out, then wear them on their heads. The 2 jokesters thereafter went on a grocery store trip where they were even congratulated on their hilarious face masks. However, later that night, surveillance footage from a Sheetz convenience store in Louisa, Virginia showed 2 men shoplifting alcohol while wearing watermelons on their heads. Perplexed, the police department issued a Facebook post asking for the community's assistance in identifying the perpetrators. And Rogers was arrested on May 15th, proving that TikTok can actually be useful. 16. Child shopping at Walmart. A 49-year-old Texas woman named Rebecca Taylor was charged with attempting to purchase another woman's baby at a Walmart self-checkout station. Taylor made a $100,000 offer for the infant. As the mother objected, the wacky woman kept pressing the issue while boosting her offer. Even though the mother had never disclosed it to them, Taylor and her female companion even started calling the infant by his name. She definitely goes down in history as committing one of the most bizarre crimes in a Walmart to date, which is no small feat in itself. I thought she just tried to scan it. 15. The decapitated head between the sex toys. The spouse is always the first suspect in any missing person's case. As such, police had to thoroughly search Maria del Carmen's house when she reported her husband missing. While police searched the property, she asked her neighbor to stow her box full of sex toys. Unfortunately for Del Carmen, the container had a bit of a smell, and her neighbors became suspicious. Upon opening the parcel, they were horrified to learn that the package contained the decomposing head of Del Carmen's missing husband. None of his other remains were ever discovered. 14. Cheating lover finds car decked with mayo and ketchup. On March 9th, 2016, police received a call from a man who claimed that his 2 automobiles had been damaged and covered in a delightful mixture of mayonnaise and ketchup. During their investigation, police discovered that the man's girlfriend, Chantil S. Dawson, was the culprit. Chantil had recently discovered her boyfriend had a wandering eye. She waited until he visited his side chick before she took advantage of the situation and, not so delicately, decorated both of the cheaters' cars with the mixture. Chantil, 22, was fined $10,000 for causing property damage and was ordered to stay away from her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. That sounds delicious. I love mayonnaise and ketchup together, also known out west as fry sauce. 13. Homeless man gets beaten to death after he's mistaken for the Terminator. One Utah man discovered that drugs cost much more than money after being arrested for beating a homeless man to death. William Bradley was on a methamphetamine binge when he believed he killed the Terminator, a poor transient stranger whose brutally beaten body was later found in a Salt Lake City apartment. Bradley was initially taken to LDS Hospital to be treated for minor injuries, where he continued to assault an emergency room doctor, 2 security guards, and a police officer. 12. 3 men sexually assaulted a variety of farm animals. 3 Paramorning, Ohio boos sexually assaulted almost a dozen farm animals and an unknown number of dogs with the assistance of a young teenager. In April 2019, Terry Wallace, 41, Mark Miesnikoff, 35, and Matthew Brubaker, 33, were all given prison sentences for their unusual method of agribusiness. 11. Booty call ends in fire. A woman in New Jersey revolutionized the term hot and bothered by torching the home of the man who called her for a 4 a.m. booty call, but then proceeded to fall asleep. Tyja Russell arrived at the sleeping man's house and decided to use alternative methods after her phone calls failed to wake him. Waking up to 8 missed calls and, a raging fire, the tired Romeo had no other course of action available to him but to save his dog and jump them both to safety via his bedroom window. Russell, 29, was arrested and charged with attempted murder. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. 10. Would you like razor blades with that? Beware of disgruntled employees. In early 2020, Nicholas Mitchell was accused of concealing screws and razor blades in pizza dough at grocery stores around New Hampshire and Maine. His arrest came after the discovery of razor blades in the dough at a Hannaford shop in Saco that could positively be linked to him. His claim was that he did it as a retaliation against the pizza dough company that had fired him and not to harm anyone. 9. When you can't recall being shot in the head. Nicole Gordon's memory was shattered and slipping. The 42-year-old had also suddenly started suffering from headaches and experienced speech difficulties. After being driven to the hospital, doctors made a shocking discovery. A brain scan revealed that a piece of metal had become embedded in the bottom of her skull. Gordon had been shot, and the doctors had discovered part of a bullet, and that the bullet wound had gone undetected, as Nicole couldn't even remember the event. Kane was ultimately sentenced to 25 years in prison. 8. Man's remains left in freezer for over a decade. When police were called to check on an elderly woman that hadn't been seen in a while, they discovered 2 bodies. One, relatively fresh, the other, frozen stiff. As Utah officers checked on Jean Soron Mather's welfare, they found her dead in her apartment and her husband's body in a freezer. Authorities believe the man's body could have been frozen for up to 11 years. Besides the apparent foul odor, police confirmed that they suspected foul play. 7. Michael Jackson impersonator gets in trouble for the late star's actions. A Florida man who loathes the late Michael Jackson reportedly attempted to start a fight with a Michael Jackson impersonator. Todd Mahone became enraged when he saw the Jackson impersonator performing outside a Dunedin nightclub with an 11-year-old child in 2019. The 51-year-old approached the entertainer and started shouting at him, accusing him of promoting pedophilia. The chaotic situation led to bystanders calling the police, leading to Mahone's arrest. He later claimed that he was pretty intoxicated during the incident. 6. The Boy in the Walls. In 1986, 2 teenage sisters fled their home in Townsend, Massachusetts, convinced that their late mother was haunting them after a seance allegedly went wrong. To prove that their house wasn't haunted, their father entered the room and discovered a young man dressed in his wife's clothes, wearing a wig and makeup and holding an axe. When police searched the house, they discovered Danny LaPlante, 16, hiding in the crawl space between the walls. The teen had been living inside their home for months, even carving peepholes in the walls to spy on the family. Unfortunately, after being released from his juvenile hall stint, he broke into another house and raped and murdered a mother and her 2 children. Later, evidence proved that he lived inside the walls of several other homes before he became violent. 5. Never leave your credit card with your angry girlfriend. Instead of the standard 15% tip to express gratitude, one New York woman allegedly left a $5,000 gratuity to retaliate against her lover. Serena Wolf used her boyfriend's credit card to pay the $55.37 breakfast bill at the Clear Sky Cafe in Clearwater Beach. Wolf, 24, asked her boyfriend Michael Crane to buy her a plane ticket back to New York. Unfortunately for Crane, they got into an argument after he refused, resulting in a 10,000% tip on her total bill at the restaurant. We're not sure if the couple ever reconciled. 4. Frisky senior citizens arrested for getting down and dirty. 6 people aged between 62 and 85, including an elderly couple, were arrested in a Connecticut park after engaging in a geriatric swingers party. 5 men and an 85-year-old woman were arrested for indecent behavior in the Grace Richardson Conservation Area. The park appears to be a popular hookup location, as it's listed in at least one city hookup guide. The 6 were nabbed in the act by the Fairfield Police Department, which set up surveillance in the area, never realizing who they were going to arrest. 3. Man caught with child porn-filled fairy tale house in the woods. Daniel Wood, 57, was apprehended in March 2018, 2 years after a U.S. Forest Service worker in Seattle discovered his elaborate treehouse resembling a fairy or gingerbread house in the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest. Several eyewitness accounts were used to match the suspect's license plates to a car seen at the treehouse. A discarded paper cup tossed by Wood was compared with DNA found on items found at the house, confirming his identity. At his home, police discovered thousands of additional images of child pornography. Most of the images found at his home match printed out photos hung in the cabin's walls. I hope he rots in hell. Ugh. There are some terrible people in this world. This list is making me sad. 2. Priest has threesome on church altar. Travis Clark, a former Louisiana priest, performed a menage a trois on his former church's altar with Melissa Chang and Mindy Dixon, 2 confirmed dominatrixes. The 3 were charged with obscenity, but it was later dropped, and the 3 were instead charged with vandalism. Following this lewd act, the church burned the altar to eliminate the priest's blatant immorality. 1. The elderly couple who stopped the train by having oral sex. Passengers on a rush hour train were treated to the train ride of their lives by an elderly amorous couple. On a C2C train from London to Essex, Deborah Tobin, 57, received oral sex and was digitally penetrated by Raymond Burr, 64. When they arrived in Pitsea, the couple, who had been drinking, shocking, were confronted by the police. After their arrest, Mr. Burr gave his real name, but Ms. Tobin decided to go with Janet Green, a farce she couldn't keep up. The couple was ultimately found guilty of lewd behavior and assigned to 250 hours of community service. So, what's the weirdest crime you've ever heard of? Or done yourself? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content, including our shorts. Come join our Discord. We're talking, we play the little shirt game, and come in there and see. I'm gonna leave that, that's a teaser. You have to figure out what the shirt game is. As always, wait. Also, if you can, think of becoming a member. That way you can help continue to support us so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now, as always, thank you guys so much. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you next crime.
Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.